So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around and just talk about some of the things that we see that actually how a house will burn down. A lot of times it's not, a lot of people think it's like the fire front, the big fire that burns them down the homes. No, it's actually the fire can be far away. It's the embers that come into the house. So the embers that fall onto the house or around the house catch the material on fire and then burns the house. Or it's a ground fire that actually comes across and then it catches the house on fire. And the last of all is usually the crown fires. Usually those are like the crowns of the fire comes across the sky, right, and the trees, and that's what catches on. So there's lots of layers of why your house will burn down. So what we'll do is we'll start from the beginning, which is the street side, talk about some of the safety things, and then we'll start moving closer. So what we like to look at is that 0 to 5 foot range around your home, because everything that burns wants to catch the siding of your house on fire. A lot of homes have wood siding, plastic siding, all those type of things. Some of them are concrete, asbestos, or not asbestos, but concrete siding and all that. So everything that can catch on fire will catch on fire. We just want to mitigate that to keep it away. A lot of times if we come by and we can't see what the number is, so if we're told we're going to 11 El Greco, we come driving up, is 11 on this mailbox or is it on the side of the house? We just want to make sure we can see. One of the things that we're looking off as we go around is there any type of duff, any type of pine needles that are underneath the siding? So that's where the embers come, right? The fire could be far away, the plume blows the embers, it falls down and catches the stuff that's next to your house on fire. That small fire will continue on burning, and then that's what catches your siding on fire. So a weed blower blowing all this stuff, the leaves, getting all that stuff away from your home is huge. If you look above me, you have gutters. The gutters are also what collect debris and everything. Cleaning out the gutters, so what we recommend is right prior to the storm or the summertime, clean out the gutters and you should be good for the summer, because the leaves don't fall off green leaves, right? It's a fall, that's where all the leaves come down, and then in fall clean it again and you'll maintain and you'll have a good safe means. If you look, we don't have any here bird blocking. We'll walk around, take a look here. So if this gate was closed and it catches on fire on the back side and then it burns this fence all the way across here, well, guess what? That's going to now attach to here. So what are some of the things that you could do? Take this gate out and put in a metal gate. Okay. So the fire will burn up to the metal gate and then it won't burn the rest of the way to your house. So those are some of the things that we would recommend. You know, garbage cans, whenever they sit on against the side of the house, the garbage cans collect, it's plastic, they catch on fire, and that's what's going to burn on the side of the house and catch the house on fire. One of the concerns is that not only is the wood next to the house, but it's also right next to your natural gas meter.
That's a point.
So if you did have even a house fire or something like that, and the fire department shows up, we have to get to this to be able to close off the gas. So we shut off the gas and you don't have gas inside of your home.
Okay.
So one of the things that I would recommend, I know the wood, even though you say you don't want, you could actually move it onto the side, which is going to give you more than a 3 foot space, because you're
so
limited.
Just go over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you talked about having a fire resistant tarp. That would work. You can put a tarp. Not only would the tarp cover it over when it rains and stuff, but keep your wood dry and wet and stuff too.
Okay.
So, but I would recommend. The nice thing here is that you do have concrete all the way up. You have about 3 feet up, which is your wood siding.
Yeah.
So you do have the space. So like debris that's inside there and all that, if it did catch on fire, it's not going to burn up to here. So not too bad, right? So around you have your chimney that goes to your roof. You have these pips and valleys, and if those collected debris, embers will come down, catch that on fire. So we would just recommend blowing that off real easy with a blower or something like that, and cleaning it all up. The things that we look for is any type of dead material or anything like that, the duff. So a lot of times the green bushes are fine, right? Because they're green, they're not going to burn as much. It's a litter that collects underneath there that drops a lot of. You have a lot of people like the clematis, clematis.
Yeah.
It grows, it's beautiful, and then it dies off. Well, it leaves the twigs, and it's really dry. So those are the things that you cut back. Rose bushes, you cut those back too, but they're green in the summer, which is great. All right, so here's what I was talking about, bird blocking. So bird blocking is what allows air to circulate through your house, right? Your house has to breathe. You have mesh that's up there, which is perfect. So having mesh on your bird blocking or any type of vents that go into your home, that's what stops those embers. So if you did have embers flying up against it, that's what stops the embers from getting inside the house and catching your house on fire from the inside, right? So good job on the bird blocking. Anytime you have furniture, patio furniture, this is not going to catch on fire, it's metal, but your seats and everything, I move them away so everyone knows it's been pounded on us since 2020, the ready, set, go. So level 1, 2, and 3. So the ready, at that time you'd be moving all your furniture away from the house, getting ready to get out of here. So moving plants, moving anything that's combustible away from your home so nothing's going to catch on fire. The plants and all that kind of stuff. Mats, even mats, they'll catch on fire and then catch the wood on fire, your plastic, plastic windows and all that. So that's what can catch houses on fire too. So just removing all those type of things. There's a lot of things, but again, I'm just recommending you.
Yeah.
She does not have wooden decks. We have wooden decks to the sides of our house.
Absolutely, and wood decks, to be honest with you, if they're clean and they don't have anything to catch on fire, like the embers usually when they fall down, it's an ember, it just heats up and then it goes out. It needs smaller fuel, so those pine needles and all that kind of stuff, that's what catches that on fire, and then your deck catches on fire. Or underneath, make sure whenever you go, look underneath your deck, because it looks great, right? The deck and the siding, the lattice that goes all the way around it. Look underneath there, blow out those leaves so there's nothing that's underneath there that can catch on fire. But otherwise, decks are totally fine.
That's good to hear, huh? Having 3 sides.
So furniture and everything. Your landscape is great. You had natural breaks, your little walkways and everything. Vegetation, and most everything is green. You don't really have like the bark dust. Bark dust next to the house. Don't see anything right now, but when we go around, we'll see a little bit more. What we would recommend is even just even a foot of gravel that goes around the base of your house, river rock and that kind of stuff, is what breaks that fire. Is the fire break that stops, right? And so the rock doesn't catch on fire; it's all the debris. So bark dust will smolder and creep until it finds a source to catch on fire. But it goes to the rock and it goes out, so it's not going to be inside your house.
What about compost? Is that equivalent to dirt, or is that a little bit of?
So compost is kind of the same thing as bark dust.
A little bit of
It's
ground
kind of that
stuff in there.
mulching kind of material.
Okay.
If you think about it, compost, if you put it into a pile, what happens to it? It heats up, and
Yeah.
actually compost will, if you don't keep it
Or if you
moving.
just have like a thin 2-inch layer.
It's totally fine. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not up against the side of the house and you have a concrete base, a foundation around it, and it just smolders up to it. Great.
Okay.
But
So
we would recommend just just some rock around it,
Yeah.
around the base of the home.
Okay.
Cool. So far, so good.
There's some things I have to do, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's just a couple, not too bad. So grass, we say 4 inches of grass. So a lot of people let the grass grow because they want el natural. But keeping the grass green and keeping the grass down to 4 inches is a prime. So if the fire came from that side, the trees, if they're trimmed up, they're not catching on fire. So you definitely have your trees trimmed up. We say 6 to 10 feet around your home is for trees, because if a fire comes in, we don't want that to do what we call ladder fuels. Everything on the ground will just burn and then goes out. Great. But whenever we have ivy or those type of things that go into a tree and it gets up into the tree, well, that tree catches on fire, and now it produces mass embers everywhere. And then it catches the next tree and the next tree and so on and so forth. So we want spacing, which is, you have great spacing.
So
Go ahead.
branches like that, how far away can they be?
That was my next thing, perfect.
Good.
So branches, what we try to do is anything that's next to a chimney, we wanna make sure it's off of 10 feet away from it. Also, branches that are on the side of the house and everything, 10 feet up, 10 feet away. That gives you enough space for you to, if the fire does get up inside of the canopy, that it's not going to get on your house. We would always recommend nothing touching the side of the house. So if you can cut the bushes back, just off of it. So cutting this back a little bit. So one of the things that we see is the fire will come, it'll creep up, catch the bush on fire. The bush will burn. It might not catch the side of your house on fire, but your windows, double pane windows are great. Single pane, they crack pretty easy. The window will break, and then embers go inside your house and catch your house on fire. Wood sashes, those also catch on fire from the bush. But these bushes, the rhododendrons and everything, they're pretty healthy, resilient. They're usually always green, but just keeping it back up off of the house. That again, that 3 to 5 feet. If you just had enough gravel, like I said, maybe a foot of gravel, even 6 inches of gravel is going to keep the fire from getting up here. Again, vents that go inside the house, make sure they have a mesh, and you do have that. It looks great. You're doing a great job on this. So this is pretty close. This is really good. The only thing is with the wood, right?
Yeah.
We could almost put like a metal post across here and attach it over here instead of having the wood. Likelihood, 4x4 catching on fire, not a lot of heat. Not very likely, but you have the metal here, which is great. That's not going to catch on fire. So this is good.
Does treated wood burn faster than regular? Like
Pressure
wood?
treated? No, that all burns about similar. I mean, if you think about it, as it says here, the heat and condense and rain washes everything away. So it's not like treated and everything's going to help out too much.
If you painted it, does paint help a little bit? If this compared to raw wood, or not?
Well,
Probably not.
paint's
Think
also
it's hot enough.
flammable too. Paint,
Oh.
it'll go to it and it'll bubble up and
Yeah.
heat and then just produces more.
They do make
more fuel.
Nice broad
what they
iron
call
they put here.
luminescent paint.
Just get
Yeah.
some from Home Depot.
make
and
what?
slam it in there.
Luminescent paint
Luminescent.
is what they call it. It's fire resistant paint,
Oh,
which you could. It's a little more expensive.
Huh.
I don't believe it works well though on outdoors.
Not
Oh.
out there.
But that is an opportunity or an option to paint it with a fire resistant paint. Like I said, it's more expensive because it actually gives the wood an actual rating, fire resistant rating. Yeah.
Yeah, I would still just say, if you can, metal, we recommend metal. All right, we'll keep on going around. So, anything that is going inside a house from outside into a house, plastic. So, plastic obviously is going to catch on fire. The plastic would burn up into the side here, and then that's what would catch your inside insulation and inside your home on fire. So, not having something like this out here.
Is that in case you need power from the neighbors?
Yeah.
When your power goes out, you plug into theirs.
Yeah, help me.
they're plugging to you.
Plug up the generator.
It's actually for Christmas lights, so.
Oh, Christmas lights?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, even putting like a box here.
Yeah, electrician.
Putting a box here, then you don't have to worry about having a wire going through your wall.
Okay.
Anything that's open allows even animals to climb up inside there and get inside the house. So good spacing from out here, 10 feet away from the house. You could trim back the bush, but this bush is pretty green. One of the couple of things that people think, like they look at the ground, if you move branches around inside, you'll see that there's a lot of dead branches that are underneath these bushes, and those are what catches on fire. But grass, up to here, you do the gravel around and then keep it off. Front of the house is looking fairly good. Trimming back, maybe a little bit more, so there's a little bit more space. Any type of fuel that goes on the ground and can burn across and get up inside those, trimming around the base of these trees. Usually whenever you're trimming up a bush or a tree, don't go more than 1/3 of the bush, right? It just would look awkward.
Yeah.
They say 1/3 of the bush, so we're keeping this up. I always say if you have grass or whatever it is, it's 1.5 times the height of this is what can catch up on fire. So the grass, if it was dead grass, it would burn across 1.5 times. The flame length would be roughly about here. The branches are pretty close to that. Could be trimmed up a little. And it is definitely 1.5 times. This is great, right? What we just want to make sure we do is on the back side is trimming it back a little bit more up off of the side of your house. You're pretty dang close to it, just even trim maybe a little bit more. And so if this bush did catch on fire, it's not going to burn directly on the side of your house. This is great. This is what we're looking for those natural breaks. So the fire would stop there and then wouldn't burn the rest of the way. You have a walkway. Those are those natural breaks that we're looking for. And then again, we're looking at your trees, 10 foot off of the house, 10 foot high away from it. So then you can minimize any type of embers coming in. If we say I need you to leave now, you're like, oh my goodness, what am I supposed to get? And you grab the toaster and your
Photo album.
photo album or something, and you're like, why did I not grab this, this, and this? So make a list. Make a list now, so you have time to walk around the house and go, this is what I want, this is what I don't need, this is what I'm going to throw out to burn, right? So you have this plan. You don't have any skylights, so we always recommend if you have skylights, for other homeowners, if you have skylights like they do down there, making sure when you leave, those are closed. So embers, a lot of people keep those open because they like the heat to go up and out. Well, summertime, heat likes to go in, and the embers light, and that's what catches a lot of homes on fire. So closing off the skylights, like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. It's doable. Take your time. It's not like you have to do everything right now. Pick what you want to do and tackle it.